Hey there, I wanted to share this time lapse I made of the final reassembly of my 5-speed manual out of my '85 Nissan 720. You can see it here. I'm working on the back of it with this, there I go, using that vise that mounts into my trailer hitch. That was very helpful in the rebuilding process of this transmission. This was sort of the easy last final step, and the lighting in the garage was nice, and I was in a good mood to just start a time lapse and show it. So, little narration. I've dropped in the whole gear assembly, the shaft assembly on the center plate. Just drop that in with up on blocks because that input shaft sticks out a little more. But if you're at this step of building your own or rebuilding your own FS5W71B or C or whatever, you know that. I'm testing things out here, making sure they spin, and I got that snap ring in. It was it wanted to rub on the countershaft bearing there, but got it in. Now it's time for the rear extension. I'm using a little bit of sealant. That was recommended in my Haynes manual. There was sealant on it when I took it off, and it makes sense. So just using a light amount, and I smeared it with my finger. Getting that lined up, making sure that the gear selector fork buddy, the little guy that goes into the slots for all the gear selecting rods, shimmy that in place, and I am just applying thread locker to all the bolts, you know. I didn't take my hat off because it was cool. My biggest worry about rebuilding this transmission right now, and I'm making this video right after I did this basically, so I still have yet to put this transmission back into my truck. I had taken it out and put a used one from eBay in, and that used one from eBay is really in rough shape. It has no fifth gear. It's a 5-speed. It's the exact same transmission, but fifth gear does not work. Reverse grinds, and there's odd noises elsewhere. I wasn't able also to fully mate it up to the engine block. I struggled with it for a couple days. Anyway, I feel good about this transmission. The rebuild, I took my time on it and did synchros because that's what was bad when I bought this truck about a year ago. First and second gear synchros, pretty shot. So those were obviously shot, and replaced all those and replaced the bearings. Got a rebuild kit from Midwest Transmission. I'm putting in the seal here that goes around the input shaft, and that's the little cover plate there that goes over the input shaft bearing and counter shaft bearing. Came with a new cork gasket for that, and my concern right now is that I'm getting a little bit of rubbing. It's not a grinding really. I'm quite sure it is my input shaft gear face on the opposite side, so sticking towards the tail. I think that face is rubbing slightly on the face of the countershaft bearing for first gear, or no, rather that's for fourth gear. For fourth gear, I'm getting some rubbing there. So I don't know, a little nervous, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and put it in. It operates smoothly. I tested things out here, put all the last little checks on it, and I'm gonna put this in my truck and see how things go. It's taken a couple weeks to do the rebuild after work, and I've got 2 full days now to do the swap. So maybe I'll time lapse that. Bye!